Okay.
This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Edna White, your host for Keeping It Real on Purpose. And this is the place where real people talk about real things on real time, all on purpose. And today, our guest is Sacha Walton. She's a business strategist and the author of Ugly Truth of Entrepreneurship. So I definitely want to hear this, and I know you're ready. So welcome to the show, Sacha.
Thank you, Agnes, for having me. It's been a true pleasure being here today.
And you know, we started off, I was in the dark. So I was in the dark and I had to get into the light because she was so beautiful. And I was like, wait a minute, we got to really put this on the virtual show. So audience, if you have questions, remember to write, call in or send them in. You could do either. You can call, leave a message, or you can actually leave a message down below. So we're just excited. And I want to know, how do you show up in the world, Sacha?
Oh my goodness, that is such a perfect question. I would say I show up in the world unapologetically, and as consistently being the highest version of myself. Like every day, I just want to be the highest version of myself, to be able to show up and give the best that I can offer to anyone that I come in contact with. So yeah, I just want to be the best that I can be for everyone.
Absolutely. I agree with that totally. And everybody's getting into the authenticity because they're so tired of all the faces and the mask and the pretense and all that stuff. They're tired of all of that. They want to see the real, what's going on. They want to have real relationships, They want to have real work, real business, which brings us to the ugly truth of being an entrepreneur. Now, tell us about your book. I'm ready. Come on.
Yes. So it is The Ugly Truth About Entrepreneurship, Keys to Managing Mental Wellness. As a business owner, a business strategist, I have not always been this person who is showing up to you today in this, in the highest version of who I am. I have encountered, trials and tribulations throughout my tenure of business ownership. Been in business for over 20 years, but the major impact that I had in my business was when the pandemic happened. And being a full-time entrepreneur for 2 years before the pandemic, scaling 6 figures, doing the thing in the event production world. And then the pandemic happened. And then next thing you know, there's my own personal chaos going on. In coming out of that, I wrote this book because I was faced with my own ugly truths, that entrepreneurship is not for the weak at heart for anyone. But when you are faced with a challenge that is outside of your control, it puts you in a place where you're, really having that you against you moment. And that moment can last for a long time. And, and when I came out of it, there were some keys that I found, because there was a personal discovery that was happening at the same time. And I came out with these keys to managing the mental wellness, and I just put it all in this book. And so it is a compelling story about my journey through the pandemic, through my own personal discovery, through my own, mental challenges, even in that. And then how I overcame through perseverance and resilience. And it's a story that can help so many people right now.
Wonderful. So start by giving us at least 2 steps so our audience can get a little delve into what this book is about.
Yeah, so I would say just kind of steps out of the keys to managing mental wellness part of it. I would say you touched on one of them. And you talked about how people love the realness. Is about being authentic and taking off the mask. So in my book, I do talk about removing the mask. That is part of that, that part of you that has to come to grips with yourself. When you're in business, we're moving 1,000,000 miles per minute within our own, capacity of who we are. And we don't really stop to see what are our own pitfalls, what are our own downfalls, what are those attachments, what are all these things that's within us that keeps us from being great in our business. And
Right.
removing the mask is one of the steps that I would say is key to that personal identification of who you are and how you want to show up within your business. You have to be real. You have to be authentic. We go through things every day, all day, in our families, in our business, in our world. And sometimes we don't acknowledge that. We don't acknowledge where we are in that.
Yeah.
And we still will show up with this mask on, like we got it all together. But yet we're caving, we're burned out, we're everything.
So I hear my audience saying, okay, Sacha, you're saying that. You are saying it. You're right. Be authentic. Tell me how to take my mask off. Tell me.
You take your mask off.
I've been living this way forever. So tell me.
Yeah. So the first step really is the ugly part is being real with yourself. You got to be real with yourself. You have to identify that and just say, you know what, I have to be real. If you have to even go to getting help, don't be afraid to ask for help, even with a therapist or whatever that may look like for you.
Yeah.
But just acknowledging where you are in yourself and stop trying to show up as that imposter and just face that person in that mirror and say, this is not me. This is not it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I like what you said, face that person in the mirror, but stop showing off. Because really, this is all, when it's all that fake stuff, you're really showing off. Like, you're not really being yourself. When you really be yourself, you show up, like everybody's drawn to you. You don't have to say a word. People know you. Like, they know you. I know you. And I used to, when I started becoming really into myself, people said, don't I know you? And I'm like, I don't remember, but I have one of those faces, but your spirit is different, right? Would you say that your spirit becomes different?
Yeah, I definitely would.
Can you talk on that?
Yeah, one of the things that I would say is energy, energy surpasses energy, and not time to get like real deep with it or anything like that. But, just like you say, spirit knows spirit, game knows game. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
We have all these sayings, right? And sometimes we don't even have to know a person for them to say, are you okay? You're showing up is like you got it all together. You got your eyelashes, you got your makeup, you got everything on.
Yeah.
But it's something about your demeanor that's giving out something different. And a person who are sensitive to it, or like an empath or empathetic like that, they could pick up on it and say, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I believe the biggest part of it is a lot of people don't really like to be vulnerable. We don't like to be transparent. That's what I chose to show up, in the self of being vulnerable and transparent. But when we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, we allow ourselves to let down that guard and take off that mask, to show up as, hey, this is the real me. I'm going through some things, and I think that when we're looking at like people in business, all on social media, they're always showing the glory side of what they're doing. They're talking about the 6 figures, they're talking about the 7 figures and everything. But how many countless nights did you go through that you cried? Or how many times did you sat there and you were just like, I'm throwing in this towel. I don't know when it's going to happen. Being real with that is part of that, taking the mask off, and showing, like, you don't have to show up and be like, oh yeah, I got the Mercedes, I got all of this. Okay, but let's talk about when you drove the Honda, and you were still chasing the dollar.
Let's talk about that. Exactly. Let's talk about when you're driving a hoopty. Talk about that part,
or catching a bus to meet your client. Like, these are real things that people would do just to try to make it, So yeah, that's what I would say.
Right.
That whole thing.
And that takes the 2 words that you talked about, authenticity and vulnerability. That, to talk about the Honda, talk about the bus, that takes vulnerability and it takes authenticity, because we want to live to this new, persona of the internet. Everything's great, and that's why so many people get involved in so many bad businesses, right? And because they see the shininess of it, oh, this person made $1 billion. Yeah, but how long has he been in business? You know, he didn't go in today and all of a sudden a billionaire. It doesn't happen like that. And the creation of, you know, this glow, and my coach tells me the shiny effect. Everything's the shiny effect. You know, and people go into businesses, and I know you work with a lot of people because you're a business strategist.
Yeah.
My clients, I think, got 6 or 7 businesses. I'm going, you're not even good at one, so why would you get another 6? You know, talk about how business, you know, these two, authenticity and vulnerability, fit into the business.
Yes, absolutely. So with the authenticity part of it, it's all about just being real. Like you just mentioned, you know, it's like answering yourself those real questions. You know, why would you go and get another business or 2 or 3 when you're not doing the first one well? So then that part comes back to, do you really know what you want? Do you really know what you want to do in business? And really, you know, and really starting in that phase first. So that's that authentic part of it. Just being real with yourself and say, look, you know what, do I really have the skill sets to do this type of business, or do I have something else? Is my passion really for this, or really is it for something else? Like, you really have to identify those things. And then not only that, but your purpose outlines it all. You know, you may be purposed to do a certain thing, but you're going after something else because it comes easy. But what if that hard thing follows your passion along with your purpose?
Right.
You know, so that's where that being authentic really, not just so much for people to see your authenticity, but how can you be authentic and influence your own self first? You know, and the vulnerable part of it comes in where you just really just saying, look, I'm a clean slate. I'm a clean slate, and I'm going to sit here. I'm going to identify all these things that I know I need to do. I'm going to sit out and plan it out. But if you need the help, being vulnerable is asking for help. If it is that you know, need somebody to go to a score, you know, mentor place, or if you're going to hire a business coach or a business strategist to help you get these things aligned. You know, we have so many coaches out here. You know, you might need a life coach, you might need identity coach, whatever it is. You know, go to someone and get the help and be vulnerable enough, you know, to ask for that. And I think that a lot of times where it comes down to trust issues, you know, and who we are as people, however our environment shaped and molded us, we carry that into business. You know, so I think a lot of times people don't want to really be vulnerable because they may have attachment style issues. They may have trust issues. They may have had someone to have been in business before and got burnt and scared to really like unleash themselves. You know, there's so many different things. There's so many different factors with that. But I would just say with those 2 words, definitely that's how you can manage that.
That's good. Oh, you heard some little ugliness about it, and it actually turned into some beauty. So I love that. I love that how you just share the ugliness of it, and then you can really turn it around to be beautiful with just those 2 words. I love it. So what is on the horizon for Miss Sacha Walton, the business strategist? What is on the horizon?
Oh my goodness, there's so many great things. You know, everything that I've talked about just now, I had to walk all those steps, you know, so I am showing up. And what's on the horizon for me is just more greater things I just want to embrace. I have maybe another book coming out this year. I've already written 2 so far. I have a podcast that's doing pretty good. And, you know, I double back into doing event production as well with my company.
Yeah.
So I have a big event coming up in the DR, you know, so I'm doing international events and everything. So yeah, just want to grow more and everything. One of the greatest things that's happened recently, I've been quoted in Forbes like 5 times. And so just wanted to just
wonderful.
do more and greater things and show up in a greater way. That's on the horizon.
Wow, that's beautiful. And what months for Forbes?
Yeah, so it was in February. There were like 5 different articles that came out, and I was quoted in each one. It was about side hustles. How to know what's the right side hustle. How do you measure it? And it was like different topics and titles that came out of that. Yeah.
Oh, nice, wonderful. Celebrity. Yes, I love it. Love it. And tell us about the events that you're doing internationally in the DR. Share that with us.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. So yeah, because that's open to anybody who wants to come, actually. So so I have a client that is having this big women's event in the DR. It's going to be at Club ᴄᴏᴟᴛᴇ, September the 20th through the 24th, coming up this year. And
Right.
it's the foundation is women empowerment, but it's also, if you have any real estate agents or those who are associated with the real estate world, that is the other foundation of it as well. But like I said, it's open to those who do want to come. If you want to learn about real estate, if you want to just be empowered and just learn other business tactics and strategies, definitely you could come down, and I will provide you with the link, or you can come to my website and everything be there. And we would love to have you guys. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how can we find you on social media and get all these goodies that are going on here?
Yeah, so I am on Facebook and LinkedIn as Sacha Walton. I'm on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram as that girl Sash. That's SACH. And yeah, you can find me out there on the social media streets. The best thing to do is just Google me. Sacha Walton, just Google me. It'll take you everywhere you need to be.
That's right. That's right. Just Google me.
That's it.
Yeah, so when you're a celebrity, all you gotta do is just Google. Just Google. There's no need to give a link out. It just pops right up.
Just spell the name right. SACHA
That's it. Just spell it right. That's it.
That's it. You're fine.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Well, this brings us to the end part of our show. Before we go, what is it that you could tell my audience to empower them?
Oh, wow. I would just say, show up. Show up whether you understand it or not. But if you know it's for you to do, show up as your higher self. Get to that place that you can do that. Don't live a limited lifestyle. Life is still passing, time is still going, and you still have a business to grow. And there are people out here that are waiting for you to show up and provide solutions, products, and services. So I would say just keep growing, keep going, press through any failures, keep growing and keep going and keep doing it. Rinse and repeat. and just be there. You'll appreciate it.
Yeah. Show up, audience. You would show up. That's all you gotta do, and rinse and repeat. So that's even better. Show up, rinse and repeat. Love it.
And
love
ignore
it. And that brings us to the end of the show.
Yeah,
ignore the noise. I like that even more.
Ignore the noise on the way. Yes.
I love it. I love it. That message was for me. Definitely for me. Definitely for me. Got to ignore the noise. I was telling one of the ladies that was talking to me today, said, she said, if people talking to you, this doesn't mean you guys going to thwart God's plan. No, we can thwart our own plan by listening to them. We can delay the plan. And she goes, I never thought of it that way. I said, yeah, the plan is already laid. God doesn't, do anything. But if we don't listen, we paused it ourselves. Nobody else did. We did. So I want to be in pause. I want to grow. I want to rinse and repeat. I want to do all that. I just want to get moving. So thank you so much for being here, Miss Sacha Walton, the business strategist. And make sure you get her book, because her book is The Ugly Truth about entrepreneurship. Okay, I got it right. Yay!
It is on Amazon everywhere.
It's on Amazon. So make sure you get that book everywhere. And this is your host, Edna White of Keeping It Real on Purpose. You can find me everywhere. All you got to do, as Sacha said, Google me. Okay? And we thank you for being here, Sacha. We're saying goodbye now.
Bye-bye.